Saturday afternoon, I was walking home after a long day at the office. There were lots of small puddles on the ground because it had been raining all day. I actually enjoy rainy days. Not the stormy ones, but the ones that gently wet the ground. The sounds of the rain relaxes you, and walking on the puddle is still fun even at the age of 23. There were only a few people on the streets. The rain had a lot to do with that, but it's also because I live in a small town. Days like this, it makes you feel like you own the town, like you are the only one living here. I'm still a kid inside, and thus my mind often runs wild with imaginations. My dad thinks I still have lots of growing up to do, but what can I say? I'm happiest when I let my mind run freely. In any event, as I walk toward home, I step on each of the puddles I see on the ground. My shoes are soaking wet, and my jeans look darker at the bottom due to the water that had been splashed on it. I'm about to step into a large puddle when I see a splash without me stepping into it. I look up in the sky for a while thinking, could it be hail? I look down again, but I see no sign of ice on the ground anywhere. Now, you might think it could have been the rain that did that, but I'm sorry to say, the splashing was a little too energetic for a drop of rain to create such motion of the water. I continue to stand there watching at the puddle, mesmerized at what I just saw. I have no clue what it was, and thus I feel bewildered and excited at the same time. Then suddenly I see another splashing of the water. This time I think I know what did that. Call me crazy all you like, but there was a footstep. Only there was no person stepping into the puddle of water. Seconds thereafter, I see other puddles on the sidewalk splashing as well. It lasts perhaps for 5 seconds. Then it stops. I wait there for about 2 minutes for the puddles to splash again. If someone's watching from a window right now, they probably think that I'm crazy. Imagine a grown woman standing still on the sidewalk and staring at the ground for minutes on. Crazy is the first thing that will come to your mind. I can't say for how long, but I waited long enough and the puddle splashing didn't come back. I went home after that and nothing else strange happened since that day. I told my father about the experience and explained to him that it could have been a glitch in the Matrix phenomena. He told me that I should grow the hell up. I expected him to say as much, but let's examine the happening rationally. Like I said, the splashing was too energetic for it to be created by the rainfall. I mean, how difficult is it to differentiate rain splash versus an entire foot stepping onto a puddle? You should also discount the possibility of hails. For one, I didn't see any ice on the ground. And two, there were no mention of hails anywhere on the news that day. So then what else could it be? Aside from people from other dimension or reality crossing into ours for a brief period of time, I can't think of any other explanation. But that's just me, and you can think of my experience however you like. My girlfriend Sophia and I, we share an apartment and have been living together for about 5 years in the same place. Both of us are very organized people, and we keep our place much cleaner than most everyone we know. From my understanding, not many people enjoy this style of living. But our preference is to keep everything organized so we know exactly where to get them when we need them. For example, our kitchen's organized in different sections. We keep herbs, spices, and condiments on different levels of shelves. We've also labeled all the hooks that hold different pots and frying pans. I think you get my drift. Sophia and I are seriously a match made in heaven. It'd be really hard to find anyone else who lives like us. At any rate, we got us a brand new 4K TV about 2 months back. A refurbished unit was on sale for like half the original price. I bought a set right away and lucked out with a unit that works perfectly and looks brand new. I suggested that we should perhaps have it installed in our bedroom since we spend a lot of time watching TV there. Sophia, however, felt that a 60-inch TV would look out of place in our bedroom. I really wanted to replace our puny 30-inch panel in the bedroom. I can't for the life of me understand why she doesn't think a massive flat panel wouldn't look cool in our bedroom. Regardless, she won the argument and we kept the new TV in the living room. One night, we were getting ready to binge watch season 2 of Stranger Things on Netflix. We had to keep delaying watching the season 2 because when I had the time, Sophia didn't, and vice versa. I'm sure many working couples understand this predicament. Before we continue, allow me to explain how the living room is organized, at least the area where the TV and the couch is located. So there's the TV, and underneath it, there's a tiny computer, a PS4, a Roku that we never use because we stream Netflix using PS4, and lastly, a charging station for my PS4 controllers are all the way at the bottom. In front of the couch, we have a fairly large coffee table. There, we have 2 laptop cooling pads at all times because we tend to work on the couch quite often. We also have a small box where we keep all the remotes for the TV and Roku, and we keep the PS4 media remote there as well. So what I'm trying to point out is that everything is organized and we know exactly where to find all the items in the living room. Now let's continue with the story. Sophia and I, we turned the TV on and began streaming the first episode of 2nd season. Our couch has an armrest that can be pulled down exactly how you would in the backseat of a car. That comes down unless we are watching a horror film. Sophia likes to sit right next to me when we watch something scary. But Stranger Things doesn't scare her much, so we keep the armrest down. I mentioned that because when the armrest is down, we keep the remotes in the cup holder during our viewing session. Again, I make it sound like we are a couple of pain-in-the-butt people to hang out with, but this is just the way we are at home. I promise we don't force our guests to do the same. But yeah, we continue binging on the show and we are at episode 3, when I realized the TV remote is no longer in the cup holder. I ask Sophia, "Hey, did you take the remote?" And she goes, "No, why would I?" So then I ask her to pause the show and begin rummaging around in search of the remote. I look everywhere in the living room, but I can't find the remote. I expand the search area to the bathroom, bedroom, and the kitchen. I've spent the last 20 minutes in search of the remote. I don't know why, but I hate it when I can't find something that should be readily available. I think I have to come to terms that indeed, I can be a real pain in the butt to live with. Anyhow, God knows how and why, but I find the remote in the kitchen on top of our dining table. I call for Sophia and both of us are completely befuddled. We were glued to the couch for the duration of the 2 full episodes and the beginning of episode 3. I promise you neither of us had gone to the kitchen or even the bathroom. I look at Sophia with a dumbfounded look on my face and say, "You and I were both seated on the couch this whole time. I know this and you know it as well. How in the hell did this remote end up in the kitchen?" Sophia laughs and goes, "The ghost, maybe?" "Hey, I'm not kidding," I respond irritatingly. Seconds later, as I'm holding the remote, we both see what I could only describe as it withering in my hand. I'm not saying that the remote broke down in small pieces, nor am I saying that there are pieces of the remote on the floor, but it looked to be slowly disappearing in my hand on atom by atom. I let go of the remote as it's disappearing, but it doesn't drop on the floor. Instead, it's just gone. I rub my hands together to make sure I'm okay. The hand that was grabbing onto the remote feels and looks fine. All the while, Sophia's looking at me, but she can't say a word. She's literally at a loss for words. We don't utter a single word and almost simultaneously turn around to go back to the living room. We take a few steps into the living room, then stop. I see the black tip of the remote poking out of the cup holder. It wasn't there when I began the search for it. I began the search because it wasn't there in the first place. Sophia saw that the remote wasn't there, and I saw it as well. So there's 2 people who saw the same thing, but the damn thing's right there in the cup holder. I have goosebumps on my arms, chills running down my spine, and I've got this sudden urge to regurgitate everything I had for dinner. The binge watching stopped right there and then. We hardly got any sleep that night and pretty much spent the whole night discussing about what we had seen. Aside from maybe temporary insanity, there's just no way to logically explain the incidents of that night. That's also why we haven't told of this to anyone, not even to our families. We still live in the same apartment, and last night, I saw two TV screens where there should have been only one. Picture yourself watching Stranger Things on TV, then suddenly a football match is projected on top of the show you're watching. I stopped the show and went to the menu, but the football continued to be projected on top. The looks of it was almost as if a holographic image was layered on top of the TV set. It stopped after about 10 seconds, and unfortunately, Sophia wasn't there to back up my story. It didn't matter though, since she believed me. She told me that she had seen a woman taking a shower in our bathroom and that she looked exactly the same as her. So essentially, she saw herself showering, or should I say a different version of herself. Who knows, this could be the result of two crazy people living under the same roof. But I don't think so. I think there could be something in this location that connects two different realities on certain occasions. And if that's the case, then perhaps it's time that we move out of this apartment. The last thing I want is for our belongings, or in fact, for us to get stuck in a different reality. Could it happen? Only God would know. But let's just say that I don't want to test the hypothesis. The easiest way out of this conundrum is to remove ourselves from this location. Then pray to God that the phenomena doesn't follow us.